Welcome to Jamaica Magazine. I am Theodore Henry. In today's program, we look at work being done by the National Water Commission in our Get the Facts segment. You don't want to miss a minute of it, so stay tuned.
Emergency warning signs of influenza in children include fast or troubled breathing, bluish skin color, dehydration from not drinking enough fluids, sluggishness, not waking up or not interacting, irritability, that is, the child not wanting to be held, fever with a rash, and flu-like symptoms which seem to go away but return with fever and a cough. Children exhibiting these signs need urgent medical attention. In adults, emergency warning signs include difficulty breathing or shortness of breath, pain or pressure in the chest or abdomen, sudden dizziness, confusion, and severe or persistent vomiting. If you see any of these signs, consult your doctor or a public hospital or clinic close to you. A message from the Jamaica Information Service, the Voice of Jamaica.
Water supply improvement works and conservation methods are among the topics we'll be tackling this week on Get the Facts with Charles Buchanan.
Welcome to Get the Facts. I'm Rose Campbell. This week we're looking at works being done by the National Water Commission to improve our water supply. And with me is Manager of Corporate Public Relations, Charles Buchanan. Thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure is mine.
Yes, I want to go straight to the issue of scheduled water supply and what is causing the issues that you're having with it. Let's take the ferry pipeline first of all.
Indeed, over the course of the last several months, and depending on where a customer is, it may go back a little further. The National Water Commission has really been having a very difficult time in supplying some of our customers with their regular 24-hour supply of water. So, as you mentioned, in the case of the ferry, the 18-inch ferry transmission pipeline that runs alongside the Mandela Highway and comes to 6 Mile and would continue along the Washington Boulevard has been broken since December 8th in an area that makes it effectively unrepairable to the National Water Commission. The break occurred immediately underneath not only the 10 feet of earth that the pipe is normally laid beneath, but also a further 25 feet of construction material, concrete and other things that are used to build the overpass. We will continue to have challenges because that pipeline since December has been out of operation and will remain out of operation for some time. What we are working on, along with the National Works Agency and others involved in the Major Infrastructure Development Program, is to expedite the construction of replacement pipelines on the southern side of the highway that we hope will enable us quickly to switch over operations from the existing old pipes to the new transmission mains.
So if you can't repair it, what is happening now why it is not broken sometimes?
Well, it's not that it is not, it has remained out of operation since December 8th. So no pumping operations has been taking place along that 18-inch transmission main since that time. Customers, however, are being served by us essentially manipulating the rest of the water supply systems within the corporate area to make up for the deficit that has been created. Because the loss of this 18-inch transmission pipeline from ferry has robbed the commission of some 5.5 million gallons of water per day. That's just about 10 to 15% of the volume of water we would normally need, and which would serve communities along the Washington Boulevard and along the Moulins Road corridors.
All right, so you're working to replace it. What's the time frame? And
At the last time, we were given some indication that the National Works Agency expects to be able to have this section completed by the end of March. We hope they are able to deliver on that time schedule, but we know there are so many factors that might make this an extremely challenging targeted timeline. But we're doing everything we can, both to have the replacement speeded up, as well as what other things we can do in the interim to enable more reliable service to our customers in the affected areas.
so how are they now getting water, and is there like a schedule?
Quite so.
Yes.
Since that time, what we have essentially been doing is undertaking some redistribution of water from a number of other water supply systems in the corporate area. So, for example, the Constant Spring Water Treatment Plant would not normally be the source of supply for some parts of this area. As I said, they would have been getting their main supply from the ferry pipeline. We have had to extend the water from the Constant Spring Water Supply System. We have even had to extend water supply from the Mona Water Supply System on the opposite side of the city to help serve some of these areas.
But Constant Spring is having problems too with water. Over 100,000 persons within the corporate area are now having difficulties. So you're scheduling their water
Actually,
for
well, the 100,000 persons being impacted are being impacted by the ferry pipeline and the activities we have had to do to make up for it. So there would have been somewhere in the region of 40,000 customers who would have been directly impacted by the absence of the ferry pipeline. They would have had no supply whatsoever because they were totally dependent on the ferry pipeline. Because we have now begun to institute regulation schedules from nearby systems, we have in effect interrupted the supply to another 60,000 persons in an attempt to ensure that those 40,000 or so persons are not totally without water on a continuous basis.
Yes.
So that accounts for the just over 100,000 persons in the corporate area who are currently being impacted directly and indirectly by the break on the 18-inch and the absence of that transmission main from normal operations.
How do you speak to the fact that persons complain that you say, oh, we're going to get water for 2 hours today, but they don't get water? What happened in that case?
The schedule we have put in place, and from start, scheduling of water supply is a difficult and imprecise thing. So from start, the comparison that most people have in their heads is that if you say you're going to start the schedule at 10 o'clock, at 10:05 I should go to my pipe and be able to receive water because you said you were going to start sending water my way at 10 o'clock. Unlike in the case of electricity, where your entire network can get energized at the turn of a single switch, in the case of water supply, water takes time to fill a network. Not only do you have to make sure you don't try to speed it up too much, else you will end up with a rupturing of that pipeline, but it also will charge or become filled with water at a rate dependent on a number of factors, including how many persons are pulling off on the way to you, the customer, at the end.
We take a break now. When we come back, more on the works of the National Water Commission to improve our water supply. Please stay with us.
Good day, ladies. We're going into communities to identify persons on the voters list over 40 years old who have died, so the EOJ can update their voters list.
Oh, Derek can't come off of the list now in the last year I'm dead.
Exactly.
From November 2018, the EOJ will be conducting a special exercise to remove the names of voters that have passed away from the voters list. You can help. Call the EOJ at 888-991-VOTE. For more information, visit our website at ecj.com.jm.
Welcome back to Get the Facts. We're talking to Mr. Charles Buchanan from the National Water Commission. Tell us now, what is happening with the Constant Spring water supply?
Unfortunately, we are having frequent breaks on the Constant Spring pipelines. And so, for example, in the course of the last week, we have had some 5 to 6 breaks, major breaks, that have occurred on that pipeline almost on a daily basis.
Old system again?
It's in part because the system is old, but also primarily because the major roadworks activities taking place immediately around these old pipelines.
So isn't there some plan as to how we're going to carry out the work, and so they would avoid, and isn't there, they can look at the plan to see that here's a pipe, here's a main, let's avoid this?
Indeed, there is a plan, and they're working with that plan, but we need to recognize as well that they're working in a brownfield area where there are a lot of existing infrastructure. There is not only the several different pipelines that are laid under the Constant Spring pipeline, all of which are in use, but there are also other infrastructure from other utilities along there. There are the issues relating to the electricity. They are also putting in place several new pieces of infrastructure.
Okay, tell us about the areas that are affected by in that Constant Spring network. So which communities?
The Constant Spring water supply system would normally serve all of the communities coming down from Manor Park, going across Norbrook, down along roads like Mannings Hill Road, Constant Spring Road itself, Red Hills Road, coming down towards Halfway Tree. It also serves a number of communities now along the Mollines Road. It serves communities back going towards Olympic Gardens. Yes. We hope that the frequency of breakage of pipelines will be significantly reduced as the work progresses, and that we'll be able to more continuously supply water. We know for sure that come the end of March, we expect to see some measure of improvement, but we also think that as we move further into the year, the improvements will continue to come until we're at a stage where 24 hours supply continuously all week, every day.
What about the people in Hagley Park that supply water?
Hagley Park Road is also an area in which major road activity is taking place. And so we also have significant breakage taking place along there as a result of those road works. Each of these breaks not only force us to shut down the water supply system to effect repairs, but it means that the entire scheduling of water is interrupted and the network loses water, and we have to start from scratch again.
How do people communicate with you when they have issues like with the schedules and so on? Is there a hotline?
There are a number of mechanisms by which our customers can make contact with us. They can send emails to us at pr@nwc.com.jm. They can use social media to get in touch with us. They can make contact with the NWC's call center at 888-CALL-NWC. They also may make direct contact with us through our Moresca Road offices or other offices. But there are a number of mechanisms by which our customers, their information is posted on the NWC's website at nwcjamaica.com, and we try to respond as quickly as we can.
Yes, let's move on to your initiative of the non-revenue water reduction program.
That program is now reaping some significant benefits. The Kingston and St. Andrew Non-Revenue Water Reduction Program is a 5-year program that began about 2016 and will end at the end of 2020. So we are now past the 3-year milestone. We have been doing a lot of work to improve the network in the corporate area. unfortunately, much of that work has also been somewhat disruptive. But now we are beginning to see the benefits. The non-revenue water levels in the corporate area have been significantly reduced.
Excellent.
And every month we're seeing further improvements.
Excellent.
So over the course of the next 18 months, we expect to achieve our target of significantly improved water supply.
Tell us about some of your successes over this past year.
The National Water Commission has been undertaking some 131 different projects at different stages of the project implementation cycle. We have some 63 projects which during the last year we were actually physically doing construction work on all across the country. These are major projects, not to count the small ones that impact less than 100 or so persons. Yes. But all of these major projects have seen major improvement in our capacity to provide service both in terms of water supply and in terms of wastewater. Yes. Unfortunately, most of these projects, not all, but many of these projects do have some issues in terms of while they are being constructed, they create some inconvenience to the public.
Talk to us about the level of water in your storage reservoir. That's something we hear about every day. How is it?
We are right now going through what is referred to in Jamaica as the longest dry season, which usually runs from December through to April. So yes, our storage levels are not at the very best levels. We right now are at about just under 60% at the Mona Reservoir, and we are at about 55% at the Hermitage Reservoir. Both are a little bit of a concern for us. We have to manage them carefully, but let's keep our fingers crossed and our prayers that we'll get some rains and keep them in a good level.
Right. A question a person's always ask is, why is it that the Water Commission goes back to dig up an area where work was done before? Why is there not some kind of synchronization of projects?
Important question. I answer it in two ways. One in the first instance, NWC never wishes to dig up any roadway. So every time we do dig on a roadway, it's because we absolutely have to, in order to either effect repairs to existing infrastructure, which sometimes gets broken by the very road improvement activity. And then we have to come back and do the cleanup. But we are also doing a significant coordination with ourselves and the National Works Agency. So all the areas in which they are doing major improvement works under the Major Infrastructure Development Program, we are working with them from start to also implement and install water infrastructure. So water is there. We won't have this problem going forward.
That's a good note to end on. We've been speaking to the National Water Commission resource person, Mr. Charles Buchanan, who is the manager of corporate relations. And we thank you for joining us. Those were the facts. The government is working to improve your water supply. See you next time. I'm Rose Campbell.
If you no want pop down and fenke, you fi burn mosquito and run with dengue. So no make water cycle in open container. For them to read up under the danger. Usher them out, run them away. Zap them with the zapper and down them with spray. Use mosquito net and mosquito screen. Protect your household, now make them come in. If you no want pop down and fenke, you fi burn mosquito and run with dengue.
A message from the Ministry of Health.
The coal parish of Manchester is known for landmarks such as this courthouse and even the St. Mark's Church with a jail attached to it. But there's much more to this parish worth exploring.
Welcome to Manchester, a parish that tells a lot about our history as a people and as a country. And I'm here to find some of those places, like the courthouse. So, come with me.
my journey took me to the community of Cocoa Walk overlooking the Caenwood Valley. This is said to be where we had the second largest settlement of Tainos. The first was in what's now Hellshire in St. Catherine.
The Caenwood Valley land starts from...
I was curious to know more about the valley, so I met up with Valerie Dixon and Mr. Peter.
Caenwood Valley start from on top of the hill leading to the round hill where Godwell is. Then you have Alligator Hole. The boundary of Caenwood Valley is wall to the north side. Private people have land from here to Victoria Town and the rest to the Clarendon border. The whole flat that you're looking at is wetland. And you have different rivers now that flow from the wetland. Now the other thing is the longest beachfront now is from up by Alligator Hole to a place down here, we call it Old Oman Point.
That's a Taino.
That's a Taino heritage site.
The wind was getting heavier, so I continued the conversation with Valerie upstairs.
The Caenwood Valley is special and should be protected and maybe even declared a World Heritage Site because it's the last part of, I would say, the dry limestone forest that we have in Jamaica.
And how did the valley get its name?
It got its name Caenwood because the Tainos were really fishermen. And you know that the boat that people fish in is really called a canoe. So there were many huge cotton trees growing in the Caenwood Valley. And they would fell, not fall, but fell the trees and they would hew or dig out the boats, which we call the canoes, from out of those trees. And so the valley became known as the Caenwood Valley.
Good. And you talk about some caves down there as well.
As a matter of fact, I would like to show you one of the caves that has petroglyphs in it.
So we head out to find this cave somewhere in Alligator Pond, but not before stopping at the ruins of Fort Charlotte. It was originally in the parish of Vere, long before there was Manchester.
It was very, very necessary for this section of the sea to have protection because Alligator Pond, which was a very, very important port for both the imports coming in from England and they would offload in Alligator Pond. And then the goods leaving from Jamaica to go to England, like everything else, there were people who wanted the goods that were going to England. So you would have the pirates who would be lurking in these waters. So the fort would be firing shots at them. So this was a vantage point, and you can just see the wide expanse of sea that is covered from our vantage point right here.
After this lesson, it was back to finding the cave to see the Taino drawings.
Wait. Carry over here, sir. No, what's... Oh, yeah. So Valerie, we are here at the Hull Cave.
Yes, ma'am.
Where the drawings of the Tainos are, all right?
Those drawings are called petroglyphs.
Talk to me about them and tell me about the significance of this cave.
Okay, caves were spiritual places, sacred places. So a cave like the Hull Cave now was where they would gather drinking water. And to the petroglyph now, when those Tainos came, a delegation came for the Marcus Garvey Fair, they explained that this could symbolize that the son of a cacique is buried somewhere in this cave. So we have work for our archaeologists to come now and study these caves, study what these petroglyphs mean.
I know you said you're not going in the cave, but I am going in there just to check it out. So
good luck to you, my dear. I'm sure you wanted an adventure, yes. And an adventure you're going to get.
And here I go.
Okay.
All right. Any spider anywhere, because I'm afraid. All right, so you go ahead of me. I wonder what their dance was like. All right, Mr. Peter, what do you think this one represents?
They say it's sun, Cassie's son, buried somewhere under the cave here. Oh. So they leave this as a sign. Manchester Parish Council have this in their booklet as one of the cave, but they never have the second drawing.
Right here, right here. Yeah. Their face, a mouth, 2 eyes. Yeah.
Trying to decipher the petroglyphs was not easy. And this is where our journey ends.
So until next time, when we bring you more history from another parish or maybe here in Manchester, take care.
Mosquitoes can spread diseases such as dengue fever. Protect yourself from mosquito bites. Use a mosquito repellent that contains DEET. Sleep under a mosquito net, close windows before dark, open windows and doors during fogging, cover your body as much as possible, and wear light-colored clothing. Protect yourself from dengue and other mosquito-borne diseases. Do your part to prevent mosquito breeding in your surroundings. A message from the Ministry of Health.
Agriculture is big business in Jamaica and part of ensuring food security. As a farmer or a potential farmer, the main thing you will need to be part of this successful industry is land. The government has been working hard to identify and get all idle lands across Jamaica into production. Now, if you're interested, Minister J.C. Hutchinson has the hookup for you.
First point, register with RADA. Once you have registered, they will then get an interview with all of you, find out exactly what you want, and then they will then start allocating the land. They rather will cut up the land, survey it off, and make sure that you get your own liquor plot.
Visit the RADA office nearest you and get the necessary information required for you to join in making Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business.
Do you have a loved one, friend, or client who passed away since 1998? The Electoral Office of Jamaica needs your help to update the voters list with information for these persons, government agencies, churches, insurance companies, hospitals, and funeral homes, and you, the public. We want you to provide us with the records to confirm the status of these persons. Call the EOJ at 888-991-VOTE or visit the nearest EOJ office. For more information, visit our website at ecj.com.jm.
And this is where the magazine closes for the day. I hope you found our program informative. Do continue to send your feedback to Jamaica Magazine at jis.gov.jm. Stay informed on our social media pages, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, or download our app on your Apple and Android devices to catch up on the go. You can also visit our website, jis.gov.jm, for more information. On behalf of the entire production crew, I'm Theodore Henry. Walk good.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.